Hello, you lovely cups, it's the Dragon Lord here, back again with another video. Now, I know it's been a while. I took a little break for myself and also just so that I could focus on school and stuff. But we're back, and we're back with a lot of what-ifs. So anyway, before I get into it, welcome to What If Tanjiro was Zoro's Reincarnation Part 4, the long-awaited Part 4. If you haven't already, and if you're new to this channel, like and subscribe. It would be an honor to have you here. And yeah, join the Discord and Roblox groups. Links are in the description. With that, let's get into it.
I'm up now, 20,000 on a bus down. I'm on my way up, going up now, and I ain't never gonna touchdown.
Tanjiro had finally received another mission. It had been quite a while before he had gotten missions, but of course he was out because of his swords and other reasons he couldn't always be on mission. Anyway, he got a mission and it was to go scout out in Tokyo. There were rumors of demon activity, so they wanted him to go investigate it. In case of it being an upper moon demon, they definitely need someone as strong as Tanjiro to be able to protect the people there. So Tanjiro set out. He arrived after about a day of walking and got some food. He was actually extremely hungry. He hadn't really ate a lot in the last few days because he had been so focused on helping the other slayers get stronger, he had forgotten to even eat food. He had stayed up multiple nights and multiple days after each other, and he just didn't care. He just wanted to see improvement in everybody around him. So he arrived at an udon stand and instantly started chowing down on food, after paying for 2 bowls of udon. He thanked the man and then made his way. Night was falling and he slowly made his way through the city. At one point, after about 2 hours of walking around, he smelled something very vile, something so putrid he had only smelled it once before. It was the same smell he had gotten when he came back home to his slaughtered family. He started running towards the scent, eventually finding a man wearing a fedora and all black clothing besides for his pants, which were a kind of beigey color. He grabbed the man by his shoulder, just to see that the man turned around and that he was carrying a child, a human girl. Next to the man stood also a human woman. Now Tanjiro looked at the man in his eyes. This was definitely not a human. This was definitely Kibutsuji Muzan. That's the only person that could release this much pressure just from having a simple gaze. Now Muzan looked at Tanjiro, and he was freaking out. He saw that this was the boy who had easily defeated Doma, and that was years ago. Who knew how much stronger this boy could have gotten? This was at least a prodigy on the level of Yoruichi. That's what Muzan thought anyway. He then recognized the earrings. This boy had also inherited sun-breathing. There was no way for him to survive if this boy started an all-out fight. But he calmed himself down really quickly, because there were people around him. He was safe. There's no reason that this boy would just attack him out of nowhere and start a frontal conversation when he held the upper hand with so many hostages. Muzan, thinking he's safe, let out a sigh as he spoke. I don't know, dear. I've never recognized this boy in my life. However, at that moment, an intense pressure fell upon Muzan's shoulders. It was Conqueror's Haki. Tanjiro had directed all of his Conqueror's Haki directly upon Muzan. This was one of the powers that Tanjiro inherited from his previous life. Conqueror's Haki. Now, it wasn't as strong as it could have been in its raw state. That's because Tanjiro had constantly been using it, kind of like he would armament Haki. He thought of it that way, wouldn't it just work the same way as armament Haki? And he implemented it into his blades, so he was more used to directing it into a current instead of letting it just soar and roar like a wild beast. But it was definitely still enough to get Muzan to feel genuine fear for his life. He said that they should probably leave as they thought that the boy was, in quotation, crazy. He turned around and he tried to slash at a man's neck. Now Tanjiro couldn't intervene because he wasn't quick enough. Not that he wasn't able to catch up to the speed that Muzan displayed, but he simply didn't realize what Muzan was trying to do. The man got slashed and he slowly started turning into a demon, as he was about to attack the woman walking next to him. Tanjiro intervened and knocked the man down. At this moment, Muzan and his wife and child left. After Muzan was a considerable distance away, Tanjiro contemplated whether or not he should decapitate this man and just go after Muzan. After all, that was their goal. Yet he didn't, and he couldn't, because there were people around him. 2 police officers tried to get him off of the man, but Tanjiro couldn't. If he let go, these people could be in genuine danger. At that moment, a kind of sweet aroma filled the air, and it calmed down everyone, and it made the man Tanjiro was holding pass out. There was Lady Tamayo, a demon who Tanjiro had heard about from Ubuyashiki personally, a demon who had for generations worked alongside the Demon Slayer Corps to help them out and to help them beat Muzan. Tanjiro had gotten a rough description of her as he called out to her. She made the demon pass out, and at that moment a boy who was walking alongside her picked up the demon that Tanjiro was holding down. Tamayo had also received word of Tanjiro, and she had gotten many samples of Nezuko's blood to try and find a cure. So Tamayo kind of knew of how Tanjiro looked like, and she knew about his sister and how she could probably become a demon resistant to the sun. Yet that didn't matter. At this point in time, Tanjiro was probably the only one who could restrain Muzan long enough until the Demon Slayer Corps could act up. So she took the man and told Tanjiro to chase after Muzan, and Tanjiro did exactly that. He jumped up from where he was laying down and started running after the man, who had killed his family. Muzan had already gotten into an alleyway to get away from, well, his so-called family and prying eyes. Tanjiro came face to face with him. Behind Muzan stood 2 other demons, and the corpses of people who just wanted to walk through the alley that Muzan had killed. This infuriated Tanjiro a bit. He could take life so easily. Even he himself in the past didn't care, as if people got in the way of his goal, he'd slash them up. But still, killing people? Something just didn't feel right with it. It was like something deep inside him told him that this was not okay, even though he had seen it many a times before. Muzan spoke, and it snapped Tanjiro out of his thought process. Who are you? Who are you? Are you a descendant of that man? Yoroichi Tsujikuni? Muzan would say, kind of having a cold sweat fall down his face as he awaited the answer. Tanjiro thought about it because he knew his family lineage. They had told about it, and they were all charcoal burners. But he remembered that even though they were all charcoal burners, maybe someone in the family was a friend of this Yoroichi guy. So Tanjiro spoke. I'm not his descendant, but I have inherited the breath of the sun, if that is what you're asking. Muzan was a bit shocked. Normally he and that man had killed all of the descendants and potential sun breath users that ever existed. But yet, here stood one now. How was this possible? Muzan thought that Tanjiro was quite weak, and that what he felt earlier was just a fluke. This must all just be a bad dream, and Tanjiro's just bluffing. So he sent the 2 demon lackeys that he had behind him after him. Susamaru and the arrow demon that were behind Muzan rushed at Tanjiro. Together they were quite the deadly combo, however, Tanjiro instantly decapitated them. They were so slow and so weak compared to him that this wasn't even a challenge. He didn't even have to unleash a sword form. He just slashed at their heads and they were decapitated with one sword even. Muzan stood a bit impressed. These were people that could become lower moons even, so it was quite a surprise that he took care of them so easily. Tanjiro pulled out his other swords, the two others that he carried. He put one in his mouth and the other in his other hand. Muzan stood there a bit confused. 3 swords? He spoke out. You're not going to be able to do very much with that, are you? How will you fight with 3 swords? That's such a hindrance. However, Tanjiro took a stance. As he rushed forward and slashed at Muzan at a speed that Muzan could hardly follow. He wasn't really paying attention in the first place, but still, it was something that caught him by surprise as he got slashed. Not only just slashed once, he got slashed 3 times. Was this the versatility of the 3 swords he carried? Tanjiro had said something before he rushed at Muzan. 3 sword style. After he was past Muzan, he finished the sentence. Onigiri. This shot chills down Muzan's spine. This wasn't even a sun breath dance. He knew this because he had seen all 12. This was something completely new, and it could destroy him because these 3 slashes that hit him, they were all on spots where he had put a brain. However, Tanjiro didn't know this. This was just all a coincidence. He had access to the transparent world if he really concentrated, but he never really used it because he felt like it was just a nuisance compared to observation hockey, so he didn't use it that often. But he did have an insane amount of strength, and this is why he could cut Muzan in the first place. Tanjiro stood up and he looked at his swords. He tried to cut through Muzan, but didn't work. Simply didn't. Muzan was just so thick-skinned that it was hard to cut. But he took it as a challenge. He was the man who had cut through steel in his previous life, and who had cut Kaido. So, why could he not cut through Muzan? It was simple. He just didn't try. He turned around to see Muzan a bit scared. Muzan turned around and slashed at Tanjiro, unleashing this tentacle-like arm. It destroyed the alleyway, however, Tanjiro dodged it all skillfully. Not even one of the many whip-like attacks hit him. He just dodged them all skillfully. He then took another stance. The same attack again? Was Tanjiro just a one-trick pony? No. No, he wasn't. Muzan looked closer. Way closer. What Tanjiro was doing was way more refined. He couldn't tell how, but it was definitely more refined. The stance looked very similar, but there was an offset. A few millimeters or so offset. But it didn't matter. The little offset that was there was not that much of a problem. He just thought it would do the same damage, but the pure pressure coming from Tanjiro, the pure fear Muzan felt, that was the issue. That was the problem. Tanjiro's blades had this aura, and, well, for Tanjiro they turned black, but Muzan made a remark. Your blades, they turned black. Is this a blood demon art? He'd say, and Tanjiro thought, what is he talking about? Only people with haki could see haki. Other people might feel it, but they can't see it like how other people would. And usually you'd only see the aura. You wouldn't even see the blades turning black. That was something only the swordsman or the people themselves would kind of visualize. Yet this Muzan guy could see it. Was this what the Demon King could do? Could he see haki? Well, it didn't matter either way, because there was no way he was gonna stop this. Tanjiro rushed forward at an immense speed, even faster than before. 3 sword style. Rengoku Onigiri. He would cut Muzan, this time slashing off one of his arms, making a considerable dent in his stomach and also almost decapitating him. Muzan quickly regenerated, but it was weird. His regeneration slowed down. It wasn't as fast as before. He felt it. Tanjiro's blades were the same crimson red blade as that man, yet he couldn't see it anymore because they had kind of turned black, although it was more like a faded color for him. He felt hopeless. He started to attack more wildly as the surrounding places got destroyed. Tanjiro had also kind of destroyed the place around them a bit using that attack, and he didn't want to bring more chaos and destruction to this place, so he decided he would finish it with a combination attack he had been working on for quite a while. Zoro started spinning his blades. Any attack from Muzan that almost hit him just got evaporated because the blades spun that fast. Santoryu, Ogi, Ichidai Sanzen Daisen Sekai. Tanjiro rushed forward. When he was about halfway to Muzan, his footwork changed though, as he started rotating. His blades were still rotating as well, but he was rotating as well now, so it made a kind of weird windmill. Muzan thought to himself, what weird dance is he doing? Then Tanjiro took a deep breath, and Muzan recognized it. Although he didn't completely recognize this was one of the sword dances that the man had used 400 years ago against him. Although it wasn't an actual technique, this was what the man had used whenever he used the last 12th form and went to the first form. Tanjiro spoke, "Dance," and slashed at Muzan's neck, all three swords focusing on the neck, and Muzan got decapitated. His head flew to the sky, and there it was. However, his body just picked it back up, put it back on his head, and he healed. It's such a shame that I won't die from decapitation. Otherwise I would be screwed. Yet that was quite a formidable technique. I'll make you an offer. Become a demon. You can get so much stronger than you are now. Just imagine it. The raw talent you can show over the next 500 years to infinity. You could become the strongest. And Tanjiro sat there with a dumbfounded expression. Why would I become your underling when I can beat you easily? Tanjiro would say, rushing at Muzan once again, slashing a countless amount of slashes at the man. He couldn't even block all of it. His arms got either detached or sliced off, or his legs were punctured and he'd fall down on a knee. He didn't even know why, because he should heal fast enough, but yet he thought about it. It's that crimson sword. It's keeping him from healing fast enough, so whenever Tanjiro slashes at the man's weak spots, it actually hurts, and he can't heal it right away. He was worried, would he not be able to make it out? Would he die? But at that moment a door opened up, as a hand came through, grabbed Muzan and pulled him out, pulling him back inside of the door. Tanjiro tried following, however the doors closed right before him, sending a sort of shockwave to send him down. Tanjiro was agitated, but there was nothing he could do. He got approached by the boy he saw earlier. The boy was spectating the fight, and he spoke. You are quite strong. I would not want to be your opponent. You are definitely needed if we want to beat Muzan. Please follow me. Lady Tamayo would like to speak to you. The boy had gone from a bit passive-aggressive before to respecting Tanjiro, even putting a sort of nim on his name. Tanjiro followed the boy as they went to a house. There they found Lady Tamayo. Meanwhile, back in the Infinity Castle, Muzan is pissed off. He's slowly healing from his wounds as he's surrounded by Upper Moon Demon and Lower Moon Demons. He then looks at the demon who saved him, Enmu, the Lower Moon one. Why did you intervene? And Enmu speaks. Well, he was stumbling upon his words. He couldn't find what he wanted to say, yet Muzan read his mind. He just wanted to look out for his master. And, well, Muzan awarded him for it. He pierced Enmu's chest and started feeding him an insane amount of blood, as he said, "You have done quite well protecting me. Here is your reward," he would say as he then just walked past all of the other demons, making his way to his research room. He needed to get stronger, one way or another. Tanjiro and Lady Tamio started speaking. Lady Tamio was worried about Tanjiro, but he was completely fine. He didn't even have a scratch on him. In fact, he looked like he was in perfect state. Lady Tamio spoke to Tanjiro about her wanting to find a cure for demons, and also medicine that would work against Muzan. So they started theorizing stuff. Now, luckily for Lady Tamio, Muzan had shed quite a lot of blood in the fight with Tanjiro, and Yushiro had brought some with him, which he got a pat on the head for, which made his mind go blank for a bit. This was heavenly. That is all that was in his mind. This is heavenly. Lady Tamio told Tanjiro that she would introduce herself to the rest of the Hashira, as she wanted to be able to study with the smarter Hashira like Shinobu about medicine, and Tanjiro told her that was a good idea, and that he would be there to support her and be by her side. After all, she had shown him that she had sort of cured the man who had become a demon, and he thanked her for that. Tanjiro stayed the night, as he had nothing else to do. Next morning, however, a crow flew inside of the barrier, and told Tanjiro to go to his next mission location, and Tanjiro obliged, departing shortly after. However, that is where today's part ends. Anyway, lovely cubs, if you like today's What If, like and subscribe. And hey, I might be live right now, so I'm streaming throughout the week, and I might be live right now. Go check it out or not. Link in the description. It's top link in the description. It's my Twitch. And yeah, with that out of the way, I'll see you lovely cubs in the next video. Join the Discord, join the Roblox group. My name's the Dragon Lord, and I am signing out.